Also here at 5 o'clock, cars stolen from a parking garage next to Philadelphia's 30th Street station. And tonight, police have one person under arrest. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Sheba Russell. The vehicles were all rentals. Police were able to track down many of them. So, Jeff, what happened here?
Well, listen, as you folks will remember, in June, it was rental agencies at Philadelphia International Airport in what looked like an organized effort. Police showed video. There were people there showing guns as they grabbed the cars. Last night, it was the parking garage here near 30th Street Station, near what's called the Sierra Center. Somehow folks got in here and got away with some 7 vehicles. This Sierra Center parking garage is directly across the street from 30th Street Station and is connected by a walkway. According to police sources, Sunday night at 5:30, a group of car thieves entered the garage, got up to the 6th floor, and left with at least 7 high-end vehicles, all part of a rental fleet parked there. One police source says 6 Audi Q3s were swiped, along with a 2023 Kia Forte. According to a worker on the 6th floor of the garage, the vehicles are owned and offered for rental by Kite, a national online car rental business. The worker said all 7 vehicles were recovered, while police say some are still missing.
I heard the police and I saw the lights.
This resident of Philadelphia's Summerdale neighborhood said she came outside her Sanger Street home at 11 last night to find a white SUV hooked to a tow truck with police nearby. She asked us to conceal her identity.
I didn't recognize the car, and because usually I know whose car it is in the neighborhood. So I just figured either somebody was getting repossessed.
She says her mother spotted a helicopter in the air. Sources say a police chopper was used to pinpoint the vehicles equipped with tracking devices. An SUV was recovered on Sanger Street. Amtrak police also parked their vehicles on the top floors of the garage and are involved in the case. In June, city police said thieves stole rental cars from lots at Philly International Airport, flashing firearms along the way. Sunday night, police made an arrest after finding a Kite rental vehicle along the 2300 block of Ridge Ave, where Lee Weeks thinks the thieves are slick.
It's well organized and seems like it's somebody gotta be letting them know when to do this and how to do this.
It does appear to be organized in some way, of course. Now, how did they get the cars out of there? Well, there does appear to be a lockbox up there. What role that played is unclear. We saw the lockbox. I did when I went up there. It was being used by some folks working up there. Kite did not immediately return a request for comment, but there does appear to be at least a pattern here with cars with rental agencies. Live here at 30th Street, Jeff Cole, Fox 29 News.
Right now, an arrest in connection with a deadly hit and run that killed a young mother of 2 from Delaware County. Shayna Ferreira just spoke with police. Shayna, what have you learned?
Well, that arrest coming in late Sunday night, according to the president of the FOP Lodge 27 president. Now, he mentioned to me that police believe the woman that rented out the striking vehicle that they believe hit that woman filed a false police report claiming that the car was stolen. Now, they believe that that woman knows who was behind the wheel Saturday morning. This as the FOP put up a $15,000 reward for anyone that comes forward with information. Heavy hearts continue to mourn the loss of a 27-year-old mother of 2 after she was tragically killed Saturday after a deadly hit and run in southwest Philadelphia. Police identifying the victim as Ashley McLean Gaylor, the daughter of a longtime Fulcroft, Delaware County police officer. The FOP Lodge 27 and media quickly stepping in to help.
The FOP initially posted a reward for $5,000, leading to the arrest of the driver of the vehicle that struck Officer McLean's daughter. Since that time, John McNesby of FOP Lodge 5 Philadelphia, he's graciously said he wanted to post $5,000 more, and then we also had a anonymous donor from Delaware County that wanted to post an additional $5,000.
With the hopes that someone will come forward and, as FOP Lodge 27 President Christopher Iserman says, does the right thing.
Officer McLean's daughter was 27 years old, a beautiful young lady. She had 2 young girls, 7 and 2.
A GoFundMe quickly gaining traction with over $70,000 raised. Meanwhile, police releasing this photo of the striking vehicle, a 2023 Honda Accord, bearing a New York license plate, driving off, leaving the young woman for dead. Investigators recovered the car Saturday afternoon, and according to the FOP Lodge 27 president, an arrest has been made in connection to the car police believe struck and killed McLean.
The lady that rented the car subsequently reported the car stolen from Sharon Hill. We now know that's not true. She reported the car stolen while she was in Miami for the weekend. So obviously I think she knows who was driving the car. She's since been arrested. Last night, Sharon Hill police arrested her when she got off the plane for filing a false police report.
Now, according to that criminal complaint obtained by Fox 29, that woman called a Delaware County 911 center claiming that the car that she rented out was stolen. This an hour after the initial deadly incident took place. According to the complaint, she told officers she knew it was stolen because she had a Google app, an alleged Google app that told her that the car was not parked where she left it. Again, a $15,000 reward is up for anyone coming forward with information. This arrest is in connection to the car, but we still don't know who was behind the wheel. That's what police are looking for. So if you have any information, make sure you give police a call.
And a disturbing discovery in Burlington County where nearly 3 dozen dogs were found dead inside a home and several other animals found living in extremely poor conditions. Tonight, 2 people are under arrest and charged with animal cruelty as well as child endangerment. And Jenny, this is just a horrifying find. Officials say there could be as many as 100 dogs dead in that house.
Yeah, that is what they are telling us, and this investigation is far from over. Take a look behind me. Police are still outside here. They tell us that they've opened windows and placed fans inside to try to air out the strong, foul smell as they investigate this case.
It's very sad and very unfortunate.
Police in Evesham Township, Burlington County, spent the day executing a search warrant at this home on the 600 block of Main Street, attempting to rescue as many as 14 dogs inside. Investigators say they walked into deplorable conditions with numerous dogs, cats, and rabbits living throughout the home. Dozens of dogs were already dead. A strong stench of ammonia forced crews into hazmat suits and prompted the Burlington County Health Department to get involved in the case.
Live dogs in cages, dead dogs in cages, dead animals throughout the house, laying on the floor. I've never seen anything like this.
Police took 35-year-old Rebecca Hallback and 32-year-old Brandon Laconey into custody and removed a 9-year-old child from the home. Police say the child was not harmed.
Oh no, that's even worse. Oh my God, that poor child.
Child in the house? Disgusted. From the animals, having a child in there, and for it being so close to my residence, it doesn't sit well with me.
Police tell us they went to the home yesterday afternoon after a representative from an animal nonprofit group out of North Carolina raised some concerns about dogs they had given to the couple to foster.
That organization did provide them funding to provide for these dogs. We suspect that funding was not provided to these dogs based on the condition they were in.
Police say they found additional dogs deceased in the backyard, buried under a tarp. Investigators believe as many as 100 dogs have died inside this home.
That's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I'm an animal lover, and no way. No way.
And Laconey are being held at Burlington County Jail as they await a detention hearing. Police are asking anyone who has any information on this couple to give them a call. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Developing tonight in Brewery Town, a man is recovering after a violent attack, mugged while walking his dog. And Dawn, you spoke to the victim.
I did speak to him tonight about a half an hour after he was released from the hospital where he's been for the last 3 days recovering, and he still has a lot of healing to go.
I did a year in the war zone in Iraq, did 2 years in Ukraine, and I would not have expected this to happen in my very own neighborhood.
Beaten to a pulp and mugged at 30th and Jefferson in Brewery Town. Retired Navy Commander Scott Harris says he doesn't recall much. He was taking his dog Nora, who he adopted from Ukraine, out for a quick walk around 11:30 Saturday night when he was brutally attacked.
There was a large party going on across the street that in hindsight I probably should have not walked near. And the next thing I remember, I'm in the emergency room because I just kind of blacked out after that.
Harris suffered a brain injury, broken teeth, his face badly bruised and swollen.
The surgeon said he stopped counting at 100 stitches, but a lot of them are inside my mouth.
Joseph Herchick was inside their house when it happened, but believes his partner's attacker was someone from the party at the park. There's surveillance video capturing 3 young women helping Harris home, along with their dog.
They brought him back. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. We were on the stoop, and he was just bleeding, and I was on the phone with 911 because I didn't know where the blood was coming from. I didn't know if he was stabbed.
The pair say they have complained numerous times to police about the large, out-of-control crowds who come from outside the neighborhood and party at the park for hours into the night.
This is what happens when something's not policed, and it could have been worse. Is it going to take a murder for something for this to stop?
The two have lived here for 4 years, and when they bought their place, they thought having a park across the street was a big plus. Not so much anymore.
I want more of a police presence, or like lock the park up at night, like just patrol the neighborhood.
It was very upsetting because you want to feel safe at home.
Police did come to the hospital to get a statement from Harris and are still investigating. Harris says they got away with his wallet, which he gladly would have handed over. Sheba? Just so unfortunate, Dawn. You know, enough is enough at this point. Thank you. 2 suspects charged in a deadly murder for hire plot in court today. The victim, a Philadelphia school teacher. Shayna with more now on today's hearing. Shayna?
Well, Sheba, an emotional day for the family of Rachel King, hearing hours of testimony. That was the teacher, the Philadelphia teacher, who was gunned down earlier this year in a Dunkin' drive-thru in Cheltenham. Today, a preliminary hearing for the 2 people investigators say carried out this murder for hire ambush. The parents of 35-year-old Rachel King seen here outside of a Montgomery County court Tuesday, moments after facing the 2 people accused of killing their daughter.
We are grateful and confident in the DA's office and the job that they've done so far this morning.
The Philadelphia school teacher was shot and killed in front of her 11-year-old son at a Cheltenham Dunkin' drive-thru back on April 11th. Weeks later, 2 people identified by police as Zaki Stephen Al-Hakim and Julie Jean were arrested and charged with the murder.
I wanted to be able to hate the defendants, and in seeing them, I don't hate them. However, justice will prevail.
Prosecutors say King's murder was part of a murder for hire plot.
Young mother in the prime of her life, and this was taking from her.
King was driving her son to a violin lesson when she stopped at a Dunkin' along the way. Police say a light-colored sedan drove directly behind King's car and parked a short distance away. Police say a man got out, walked up to King's window, and opened fire with her son in the back seat. Investigators say the motive was jealousy, adding King's longtime boyfriend had an affair with Julie Jean before breaking it off with her and reconciling with the victim. Police say Jean hired Al-Hakim to carry out the murder.
He staked her out. He followed her to the scene. He waited until she stopped in that Dunkin' Donuts, and he shot her 6 times.
A wonderful young woman, a fantastic mom. Anyone that knew my daughter loved my daughter.
Now, the defense counsel for the co-defendant, Aki Al-Hakim, said that they believe at this point the case is mostly circumstantial, but the DA's office, Montgomery County DA Kevin Steele, saying the state has a strong case. Both defendants remain behind bars facing first-degree murder charges.
A fast food spot in Roxborough held up at gunpoint. A second business hit in the area in just over a week.
The robbers in both cases are still out there. Our Shawnette Wilson reports.
See, that's scary because bullets don't have a name on them.
Yolanda Davis is frightened hearing of the armed robbery that happened inside this Wendy's on the 5900 block of Ridge Avenue in her Roxborough neighborhood. She was leaving Rite Aid next door this evening when I told her about it.
Who knows? You could be in the driveway and a bullet comes, not knowing this robbery is going on, and a bullet comes out the window.
Philadelphia police say it happened just after 1 this morning, an hour before closing. 3 people in a black SUV drove up to the drive-thru. Police say 2 got out and went inside through a back door that was slightly open. Investigators say the suspects demanded money from the registers. Then one of the suspects went into the manager's office and fired 4 shots at the safe. Investigators say they got away with $347 from the registers and that both had semi-automatic handguns.
Plain and simple, of the police or start carrying.
A week ago, 5 blocks away from Wendy's, police say 2 males robbed C&C Creamery on Ridge Avenue at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They say 2 suspects pointed a handgun at employees at the takeout window and got away with money. 2 of those workers were teenagers.
You barely see any cops around here.
Today, several police were back at the Wendy's, and a store security guard was making rounds inside and outside the store. Police say the suspects were wearing gloves. One had on a black ski mask, and the other had a gray hooded sweatshirt pulled tight to his face with a face cover.
The changes I've seen in the past, even few years, it's very saddening and it's disheartening.
Davis says the crime will likely force her out.
I'm considering moving, out of the city because it's all over the city these days.
Police say the getaway car is a dark color 2010 Nissan Murano. They say it has dark tint on the windows and windshield. It also has a roof rack. Shawnette Wilson, Fox 29 News.
Where 3 men are facing a long list of charges connected to the manufacturing and selling of ghost guns and various attachments for those guns. Marcus Espinoza following the story for us tonight. He's live at the courthouse in Norristown. Marcus, what else have you learned here?
Hey, Sheba, we actually had to move because of some connection issues, but what we're learning is that they are making these guns quickly, efficiently, and they have made a lot of them. They've ended up on the streets here in Montco and also in the hands of criminals.
Somebody who clearly knows how to manufacture, clearly is doing it at a fast pace, and is clearly putting them in the hands of people that can't have them.
An illegal gun manufacturing ring in Montco, allegedly run by these 3 co-conspirators, is now shut down after a months-long joint investigation between Homeland Security, Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, and Hatfield Township Police.
The base of the manufacturing of this was a home in Hatfield. Defendant Ho was using a lot of different parts to make ghost guns.
Photos police found on Tony Ho's cell phone allegedly show the suspect showcasing guns that investigators say he made in his workshop.
There was pictures of more guns than we have recovered, and guns that were put out onto the streets over a period of time. So this defendant's charged with a corrupt organization.
Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele says Ho was flagged in part because of an order he had placed in China for suppressor parts, aka parts to build a silencer for a gun. Homeland Security and Customs intercepting that shipment for Ho. Steele adding that the defendant was able to make these guns very rapidly and efficiently.
He had perfected the work on this and was doing this and distributing them. And that's a lot of guns that can be put out during that period of time.
Dozens of gun parts were recovered at Ho's workshop, including AR-15 rifle parts, firearm sights, firearm sight tools, a polymer 80 toolkit, weapon-mounted lights, a Glock pistol barrel, assorted other firearm parts, and even a 3D printer.
That's what we've been able to stop here. Somebody who clearly knows how to manufacture, clearly is doing it at a fast pace, and is clearly putting them in the hands of people that can't have them. And he faces significant consequences.
Now, all 3 defendants did not make bail. The next preliminary court date is on September 13th for them to begin this process as they may head to trial. In Montgomery County, Marcus Espinoza, Fox 29 News.
It is 10 o'clock, and we've got breaking news right off the top here out of North Philly. A 34-year-old deli employee is in critical condition after someone walked into the deli and shot him several times. It happened just after 7:30 tonight on the 2600 block of West Lehigh Avenue.
Police say the victim was standing behind the counter when the shooter opened fire, and they say it doesn't appear to be a robbery, but they're not sure about the motive yet. They do say the entire thing was caught on camera.
You can clearly see the shooter walk into the store. He stands in line behind at least one other customer and then reaches into his waistband, pulls a gun, and reaches into the cashier booth and fires, we know, at least 5 shots since we found 5 spent shell casings.
Police say the shooter's face was not covered, and they are confident they can ID him. Store employees say he comes to the store on almost a daily basis.
Deadly double shooting in Frankford leaves one woman dead, and police say nearly 50 shots were fired. So Steve is live at police headquarters with more. Steve?
Yeah, this was just the latest incident in a violent 5 hours in Philly, and here's the video, and look at all those evidence markers, and you're wondering who would fire so many times at a couple who seem to be outside enjoying a summer night, grilling. They sent a little tent up and had their chairs on the street, maybe live on that street because they were unidentified at last check with Philly police. The guy looks like the target simply because they shot him twice in the head and then maybe shot the woman so many times so they didn't leave a witness.
Where we found both of the victims is where we found the ballistic evidence of the crime scene, which was over 40 shots fired from a semi-automatic weapon. Most of the spent shell casings are in a group, a little area, and most of these shell cases were just a few feet from where both victims were laying. So it appears that the shooter or shooters intentionally fired multiple shots, striking these two victims, which we believe were together.
You know, the saddest part is before you try to figure out a motive why somebody would want that couple dead, you got to figure out who they are, and they're still listed as a Jane Doe, deceased, and a John Doe who still hasn't regained consciousness, unresponsive when they picked him up, and somehow clinging to life despite 2 bullets into his brain.
Look at that, seeing all those markers to see just how many shots were fired.
Unreal.
Developing tonight, new details in a tragic discovery out of West Philadelphia. Police now say the victim, found shot in the head and left inside a garbage can, was a 12-year-old boy. His name, Hezekiah Bernard. Tonight, Shawnette, police are working to find out what happened to him.
They are, Sheba, and what I've learned tonight is that Hezekiah was a phenomenal dancer. He was sharp and excited to be part of a mentorship program that would give him more opportunities. And tonight, police are looking for whoever took all of that away. A balloon release in West Philly this evening in memory of 12-year-old Hezekiah Bernard, known to friends as Hezzy.
He gone, but he ain't gonna never be forgotten.
16-year-old Jashir Montgomery was among hundreds who came out after learning that an unidentified body found last week was their friend.
I thought he just wasn't answering the phone, but I ended up figuring out he was dead. They put him in a dumpster. Like, that was out of pocket, and it really hurt me.
Philadelphia police during a press conference today gave a tragic timeline of events, beginning August 22nd, Tuesday of last week, when a housing authority sanitation worker picked up a plastic trash container on the 5500 block of Cherry Street. Investigators say the next day, when the same worker took the truck back out to gather more trash, the container overturned, revealing the body inside, with a plastic wrap around the head and comforter over it. August 24th, the victim's death was ruled a homicide, an autopsy showing he'd been shot in the head.
The estimated time of death of Mr. Bernard was between the hours of 24 and 36 hours, prior to being discovered on August the 23rd.
Police say flyers were posted with a description of the victim, and August 29th, family identified the child. Pastor Aaron Campbell is with Level Up Philly and says Hezekiah had been with the mentorship organization for a little over a year.
So well-mannered. Bright eyes. Just when you looked inside his eyes, you just saw just a hunger to see the world.
He had the kids gather tonight at the Level Up building for the balloon release and a safe place to express their grief.
Hezzy, he was my little brother. I cried a lot. I cried a lot because I looked at him as like my own blood. He's so young, just why? That's my question.
And police tell us that Hezekiah was in DHS care, and tonight they are asking you for any information that can help find his killer. Jason?
Shawnette, thank you very much.
A convicted murderer is still on the run. Investigators believe he's in the area as the manhunt intensifies. Our Eddie Kadam is live with the latest on this search. And Eddie, they say he's dangerous.
Yeah, that's right, Shane. A very dangerous man, and
Law enforcement believes that he did break into some houses. We're hearing from sources that he did break into some houses looking for food yesterday. What's making this search so difficult, this is a heavily wooded area with over 300 residences. It's the Labor Day weekend, of course, Labor Day now. It is Labor Day, so a lot of people out of town. So those people where he potentially broke into the houses yesterday, they weren't home. That was over on Water Glen Drive. They say he stole food and then possibly took off again into the deeply wooded area that we're surrounded by right now. Now, hundreds of police have been ramping up their search efforts all weekend, going door to door, looking for 34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante. He's the convicted killer who escaped from the Chester County Jail on Thursday. He was last spotted Saturday morning on a Ring camera video that was on the 1800 block of Lenape Road. He was wearing prison pants, a light-colored T-shirt, and white sneakers, and law enforcement believes he has a backpack on. They don't know where he got the backpack. Police have been out searching all weekend in a concentrated area. They've got about a 1 to 2 mile radius where they believe he's camping out, hiding somewhere, popping into homes, trying to get food or resources in any way he can. So they're asking neighbors, remain vigilant, check on your neighbors' yards, and make sure you're looking out for them.
We want it to be over. It's been a really scary couple of days here in the community.
I can't believe we haven't caught him yet with all the resources we have, all the canines, everything we have.
Neighbors have been on edge, obviously, since he went missing, and law enforcement is asking people, stay vigilant, especially with the holiday. Keep your eyes open. Several roads are closed around here. Longwood Gardens also following in this search area, so they've been closed for this what's usually a very busy holiday weekend. So this search immense right now, and they're asking people, if you do see him, do not approach him. Call 911 immediately. Avoid him. He is considered extremely dangerous.